Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm nervous. I'm scared to record a podcast. I'll get into that in a second. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of my podcast, Things Could Be Worse. I'm your host, Baileydedrick, and today's episode is going to be another advice-oriented episode where you guys submit your questions and I spill the beans. I spill, my advice, my best answers to your questions, and hopefully help you guys out, or at least prepare you for the future. Or, if you're past this moment in your life and the advice doesn't really apply to you, hopefully it's just entertaining. Last week's episode kind of got me into my first little scandal, if you will. No, it's not actually a scandal, but I did get myself into a little bit of trouble as well as some other people in trouble. And I really don't want to dive into it because I need to leave these poor people alone and stop sharing information. It's just crazy. My podcast is so small. Obviously I appreciate all of you guys so much, but in the grand scheme of things, I have a very small podcast. Obviously it's not the smallest podcast out there, but I get decent views and decent listens, but it's nothing crazy. And when I tell stories on here, I expect that people are gonna hear them, obviously, but I don't really expect people to What I'm trying to get at is last week's episode, I did share some things that maybe I shouldn't have said, and it ended up getting back to the people that the stories were about. And unfortunately, they weren't good stories to hear. So with that being said, I need to be more careful with what I say in the future, and I can actually affect people on here, and it's not just me rambling to myself, talking to a camera. People are seeing this, people are listening to this, and I need to be more aware of that. So don't worry, I'm still gonna be real on here. I'm still gonna tell all the stories. I just need to be a little bit better at keeping those people anonymous. I mean, I didn't give any names or anything, so don't go try to fucking find these people. It's just people that knew these people happen to be listening, right? All right. Sorry about that. If you guys are listening now, love you guys. I don't know you guys, but I'm sorry that I, kind of put a little what's it called? I don't fucking know. I kind of fucked some shit up, I think. So yeah, like I said, today's episode is going to be advice again, and this is basically just an episode of all things I wish that I knew before my senior year of high school, things I wish I knew before graduating high school, basically just the guide to having a good senior year that you're going to look back on and be happy with. Obviously, nobody's going to do it perfect. You're not going to have the perfect year, even if you follow all of this advice. All of this advice might not even apply to you. Although this episode is more obviously directed towards seniors in high school, I feel like anybody at any age, either if you're younger or older, you can take advice from this and take my insights and stuff and apply it to your life in whatever situation you're in, whatever grade you're in. So yeah, let's just dive into it. I ask questions on my Instagram, and we're just gonna dive straight in. Okay, somebody said, what am I supposed to do next year if I don't get into college? So obviously there's so many different options than going to college. College isn't for everybody, and y'all know I'm not in college. I'm not currently going to college. So that wasn't my path. But I will say there is so many different options besides just going and getting into a big university a lot of people do. There's community college, there's trade school, there's online colleges now. There's so many different options, and most community colleges and stuff, they'll take anyone. You know what I mean? You will be able to get into some sort of program, some sort of college, some sort of further schooling. I think when you're applying for colleges, just be realistic about it. If you're saying this because you know that you're not a good student and you haven't gotten the best grades and you don't have a lot of hope for yourself, I think just be realistic, and you don't apply to the biggest, hardest universities to get into in your state or out of state or whatever. Just be really realistic with it when you're applying to schools. And also don't worry about what other people are saying. If you're not getting into the biggest, coolest universities other people are, it's not that deep. If you would have told me this is probably one of the biggest things I learned throughout high school, freshman year, if you would have told me that somebody I knew was going to the community college that's in my town, I would literally like laugh because I was so immature. Like I knew at that point I didn't even want to go to school, but for some reason like community colleges and like stuff like that, smaller schools and stuff have such a bad rep, and like people almost look down on people that go to community college. Like if you're going to like a big state school and you know somebody else is going to community school or a community college, it like people look down on that. But as you get older, you realize that going to a community college, if it's the right option for you, is literally the most not embarrassing thing ever, because you're going to save money, so much money. You're going to save so much money. You have so much more time because community college isn't as demanding as like a traditional like state school or like university. And then also this could be a pro or a con for some people, but if you're going to community college in like near you, then you get to stay home and you just get to commute and you don't have to like live in a dorm and all that bullshit. So I don't know, there's so many options out there. I think definitely like open up where you're thinking and, you know, lay out all of your options, because there really is so many. Somebody said what to do with your free period when you're not allowed to leave or use your phone. So during my free periods, we had like my senior year, I had a senior release and I had a senior privilege. And the senior release, thankfully for me, was my first period, and senior release meant, you know, you are released from the school grounds. You don't have to be there. So I didn't have to go into school until the second hour or whatever, my second class. So I got to sleep in like 40-50 minutes extra than everybody else, and it was so nice. So I got to technically leave during the senior release thing, but then during my senior privilege, we were not allowed to leave. We had to check in, we had to like sign in, and we had to stay there. And I think that's so stupid. Like, just have two releases. I get they want to like have you make it like a study hall and like get work done and stuff during that period. But when I was doing that, I got to use my phone, and I sat on my phone or like just talk to people the whole time. But I would say if you don't have the option to leave or be on your phone, really actually utilize that as a time to get work done. And I know that sounds so stupid and like almost obvious, like obviously, but I don't want to do that. But doing your schoolwork during those study halls or those privileges or free periods, whatever the case is, doing your work and like catching up or like working ahead during those hours really, really benefits you. Like, it benefited me so much when I actually like sat down and took advantage of those times. I'm telling you, I did this my senior year and I rarely had homework. I will say I was in the easiest classes ever. I didn't get a whole lot of homework, but the homework that I did get, I never had to do at home because I utilized that free period so much. And I don't know, it really will help you if you do your work during that time. So I know it sounds obvious. I know you're like, but I don't want to fucking do it. I don't want to do my homework. Do it and it will help you. And, you know, it will definitely be better than just like sitting there doing nothing. You know what I mean? Somebody said, is it truly the easiest year? For me, it was easier than hell. It sucked because, you know, I had the worst senioritis. I think I had senioritis since like sophomore year, maybe since like 8th grade, to be honest. I don't know. I hated school. Y'all know that. But my senior year, I took 5 classes, and it was because I had to take 5 classes. I didn't even need 5 credits, or it wouldn't have been 5 credits. It would have been like 2.5 credits, because you get a full credit for like taking a class for a whole year versus just a semester. And I was just in school for a semester and then I graduated. This is too much. So I took 5 classes, and I think I needed like 1.5 credits or maybe 2 credits, I believe. So I could have taken like 4 classes and been fine. But my school required me to take 5 credits, and I took the easiest credits that I could have. Like, I took the easiest classes. I took like creative writing. I took sci-fi genre studies. I took, what else did I take? I took a fashion class, which, oh my God, I love that class so much. It was like fashion and interior design. And then I took what else did I take? I actually remember I took some sort of like business. It was like intro to business management. I took some sort of business marketing class or something. So I took very easy classes my senior year, which made the year incredibly easy. I didn't have a lot of classes. Obviously, if you choose to challenge yourself and take hard classes, regardless of the fact that you're a senior, then it will definitely be harder than it was for me. But if you are going to college, especially a competitive college, I would definitely still recommend taking, you know, hard classes your senior year. Not like the hardest of classes, but still challenge yourself a little, because people say colleges don't look at senior year, but like they're still gonna look at that, and like it's it's better to do that than to like completely just not try and not take any difficult classes your senior year. But my senior year was very easy. But I always say this about every single year where people are like, is it harder? Is it easier? Is it the best year or the worst year? It's truly up to you. If it's anything like my school, like we have pretty much complete freedom to pick our classes. And yes, there is like some guidelines and some things that you do need to do. But for the most part, like you have the creative freedom or whatever to organize your own classes and like take the things you want to take. Somebody said, do you regret not doing anything? If you're talking about in terms of just senior year, I would say, I mean, honestly, every single year, you're never going to look back and be like, oh, I wish I did less. It's always, I wish I did more. And even if you're exhausted, and I'm not going to tell you to overwork yourself, burn yourself out, say yes to everything, and then want to kill yourself after. Sorry, I should stop using the phrase, I want to die and I'm going to kill myself or stuff like that, because I don't mean that. Obviously, you don't actually want to kill yourself because you're hanging out with too many people, but I need to stop. Anyways, I'm not encouraging you to like overdo it and like overcommit to things and overbook your schedule and stuff. But at the same time, like, yes, I did a lot my senior year and I was very involved and like went to all the sporting stuff. Well, no, I went to most of the sporting events. I went to most of like the fun things, like fun senior things. But there is some stuff that I missed out on just because I simply didn't want to go, or I was too tired to go, or I had other plans. And, you know, you're never going to be like, oh, I'm pissed off that I went to that one basketball game. Like, you're always going to make memories no matter what you're doing, even if it's a terrible basketball game. You know what I mean? Like, even if you guys lose and it's just like a bad game, you still like go get the experience, make memories with your friends or whatever. And you're never going to look back on those times and be like, I wish that I didn't do that. So I think in general, just the only thing I regret is like just not doing as much as I could have. But I did do a lot. I think a lot of like just looking back on high school, what I regret the most is hating it as much as I did. I think the idea that I had about school and the attitude I had about going to school kind of ruined the entire experience for me, when if I just would have tried my hardest to think more positive and just, you know, take it for what it was. Like, yes, school sucks. High school can be a pain in the ass, but at the end of the day, you have to go. I mean, you could drop out, but like most people, we have to go, and it sucks. But like, you can either be miserable for 4 years. This is how I look at it now. You could either sit there, be miserable, hate your life for 4 straight years, or you can try to make the best of it and have it be like a mediocre time, but you're still going to have so much fun. Like when you flip that negative into positive thinking and like a positive attitude towards school, no matter how hard it is, you're going to enjoy school so much more by just flipping your mindset. Wake up every day. I know you don't feel this way, and I know it sounds stupid, but wake up every day and try your hardest to say to yourself, I get to go to school today. I know it sounds crazy. I know it sounds stupid and cringe and like it's not going to work, but the way that you speak to yourself and the things that you think to yourself truly do manifest into real like thoughts and real things and real situations. So be grateful for that you have the opportunity to go to school, because, you know, kids your age and other places of the world, they don't. And I know it's like, okay, whatever, but like you truly do have a privilege of going to school, and I wasn't able to see it that way. And I know it sucks, and like the privilege of being able to go to school doesn't make being at school any less miserable, but truly try your hardest to be a little bit more positive about it, because you will have such a better time at school, and you'll have so many more fun times because you're open to the positive instead of just like closing yourself off and being like, this is all negative, like school's all negative. Try to open yourself up to the fact that it could actually be very positive, okay? That's my biggest regret, is that I was so negative about school and I hated it so much that it kind of just ruined it for me, because I was like, there's no way I can enjoy this because I hate it. But I could have enjoyed it a little bit more if I tried harder. Okay, somebody said how to prepare for college. I never had to prepare for college because I never was thinking about going to school. Like when it actually came time, like junior year, when you start, thinking about school, applying to schools, like writing essays, getting letter of recommendations, I never did any of that because by junior year, I had already made up my mind that I wasn't going to apply to school right away. So I don't exactly know, but just from seeing the things that my friends went through and the things that were talked about in my classes and stuff, I can give you like a little bit of input, but I really don't take advice from me because I'm not qualified per se to give advice on this because I haven't actually gone through it. Number one, I'm going to say all of the big standardized testing things. If the colleges, look into the colleges that you want to get into and see what they require, because I know a lot of Southern schools, they require the ACT and the SAT, and then I don't know, like North schools, like schools in this state don't require the SAT as much, I don't think. So look into the schools that you want to get into and then plan accordingly and study accordingly for those standardized tests. Obviously, they suck. The ACT, the SAT suck dick. It's fucking stupid that we're all based on this standardized fucking testing. Our worth is like determined by these standardized tests, but it's how it is, and there's nothing you can do. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean you can't just, not do it if you want to be successful and get into college and stuff like that. So I will say start studying for that shit as soon as like sophomore year hits. Get one of those SAT books, get one of the ACT books, go through a few pages, every single week, like do a chapter a week or something. Just start small sophomore year and slowly start studying and doing like worksheets and tests, like practice tests for it, because that was like my biggest thing. Like if I wanted to get into college, my ACT score, it wasn't like horrible, but it was not good. And I definitely could have done better, but I didn't prepare for it whatsoever. So I think like prepare for those tests, and then also start writing like your essays and stuff way before they're due. Like start working on them, find out what colleges, what type of essays you need to do, and like start doing that soon. Like look into that before your school is like prompting you to look into that, because from what I heard at my school, like they really didn't. I mean, even I saw it. Like if I was going to college, I would not have known what to do because our teachers, like nobody told us what to do. And I think that's so fucked up. Like there was like a little bit of discussion on like applying to schools and like how to send your transcript to schools. But when it came down to like the essays and the letter of recommendations and the due dates for certain things and everything like that and like financial aid, it really was kind of like do it your fucking self, which is kind of I was going to say kind of insane, and then I said crazy. Kind of crazy. So just you need to do that shit on your own. Look into the colleges that you want to apply to, and figure out where the due dates are, what you need to submit, and like get on top of that as soon as possible so that you're not stressed out about it last minute. Like, oh my God, I have to write a whole essay for this school and the deadline is tonight. You know what I mean? So things like letters of recommendations, you need college essays, you need obviously SAT, ACT. You can take those tests multiple times. It's expensive, so that's why I recommend just preparing like really well ahead of time, and then hopefully you won't need to retake it as many times to get like a great score if that's your journey. I don't know. I didn't retake it because I didn't need to. And then also scholarships are a big thing that people don't talk about. You can get a scholarship for damn near fucking everything. Anything. Go on local scholarships in my area, like college scholarships, and just apply to as many as you can, and you will probably get some sort of scholarship. Obviously, it's not going to be a huge scholarship, but you'll be able to get scholarships. There's like gardening. Like if you like to garden, you can get a scholarship for that. So I don't know. Those are some of the things that I recommend. Just like, you're kind of on your own, at least if it's anything like my school. So look into this stuff way before you think that you're going to need to. Okay, somebody said, is it more fun in the student section? By far, it is the most fun year out of them all. You feel just superior to everybody. And when you're a little freshman, you look down at the seniors and you're like, oh my God, they're so old and cool and I want to be like that. And then you finally get to it. And obviously it's not that magical because, your perception changes so much when you're the younger person looking at the older person versus the older person looking at the younger person. I mean, there still is like a huge difference between being a freshman and a senior, obviously. I don't know. It's just such a good feeling to like make it to senior year and like be surrounded by all of your classmates, which some of them you've known for like 12 years. You've been going to school with these same people. Obviously there's new people and different people, but like it's just such a cool feeling. And at like in the student section, it's kind of where you see that the most, besides at like graduation, because you're all kind of like separated into that front area, and you just like look around, and it's like a different feeling. Like in previous years, it felt so separated in the student section, but senior year, even though there was like a little bit of beef, it just feels more united, because it's like, all right, guys, like this is our last year. Let's just have a good time, and like let's just like be nice and friendly to everybody. At least that's kind of how I felt. I don't know. It was definitely more fun senior year than all the other years. All the other years were fun, but like senior year was just a different feeling, and it was definitely the best out of all the years. I know there's lots of good parts, but what's the worst part about senior year? So yeah, there is a bunch of good parts. I think like this is kind of a basic generic answer, but like the senioritis of it all is really the worst part. Like you feel so, I don't know, past the point of being in high school. Like the maturity that you do even from junior to senior year is crazy, and like you are so excited and ready to graduate. And if you're going to college, you're so excited to be able to, you know, start thinking about college and moving away. Or if you're not going to college, you're ready to start, you know, working, or whatever your journey is. Like I said, it's different for everybody, and that's completely fine. Whatever you're doing after high school, like most of the time it's very exciting because it's a new thing. You've been in high school for 4 years and you can't wait to get out of it. So the senioritis thing, I used to think it was like a fucking joke, but I mean, I've always hated school, but senior year, like it really, because you're so excited for the things that are coming so soon that you just want to get out of there. But obviously everybody kind of knows about senioritis, so I'm going to go a little bit deeper, and I'm going to say the worst part about senior year is literally when it all hits you at the end. Nobody prepares you for that. You think you're going to be, I mean, this is different for everybody. Some people don't fucking care. They're so happy and excited and relieved to be out of high school that they don't have a single negative feeling towards it. But nobody prepares you for that day on graduation, or that day when you and all the seniors are together for like one of the last times, and you like are just looking around and you're like, holy shit, my childhood is quote unquote like over. Obviously I'm still 18 years old. I'm gonna be a child. Like your childhood technically lasts, in my opinion, till like year 25, but you know, I don't know, it's just like nobody mentioned how hard that would be. And I don't know if I'm just like a hyper emotional person or like a hypersensitive person, and I love nostalgia. I love nostalgic things. I love reminiscing on the past. I love just like feeling like I'm in a movie and like thinking back on the past and shit like that. So I honestly felt very like empty and like scared, even though I was so excited to be graduated like officially and like done with school and like don't ever have to go back to that place. It wasn't about, you know, being done with school that was sad. It was just like, damn, like this is like shit, like damn, this is over. Like it's over and nothing is going to be the same. Like things have been relatively the same my entire life up until this point, and this is the moment technically that like everything changes and like everybody grows apart and like goes their different ways, and it's such an emotional thing. At least it was for me. So I would say that is the worst part. So if you're graduating soon, be prepared to maybe have a lot of mixed emotions and feelings. Even though you think you're going to be so excited and only happy and good vibes, you might be bad vibes for a week or two after that, but it gets better. Tips for making student sections lit. Our student section, I'm honestly not even gonna lie, the last good student section, like really good student section that I saw was like my freshman or sophomore year, and it just went downhill from there. The biggest thing is you need to like bitch at the freshmen and sophomore and even the juniors if they aren't being fun, if they're not being loud, if they're like too cool to like cheer and shit. You need to like bitch at them because they ruin the whole vibe. Because if it's just like the seniors that are only doing all the work and like having fun and like not everybody's involved, it's gonna be terrible. But I think do a lot of like try to like start a lot of like traditions or things that you do. Find a lot of cool cheers if you guys don't already. Have like a big whiteboard. You guys can, you know, make fun themes, all of that fun stuff. Like there's so many different things. I think honestly just go on Pinterest and like look up like student section themes or student section cheers and stuff if you guys don't already have them or know them. But the biggest thing is just getting everybody involved. Like have a hype woman, a hype man out there that runs up and down the fucking bleachers and like gets the little freshmen involved. And if they're not getting involved, put them on fucking blast. and call their asses out in front of everybody, because that will make everybody get involved, because like you don't want to be the freshman that gets called out for like not cheering. So I don't know, just try to get everybody involved. That's my biggest tip. Why do I feel like all my old friends aren't my friends and all my new friends are so great? This is the best thing I've ever heard. It sucks. Okay, I don't want to like, brush past this, because like it sucks, like losing friends and like, whatever. But I think this is just a big sign that you've changed and you're growing in a positive way. If you're making new friends and you feel like they're really good for you and you're looking back on the past and being like, those friends weren't as good for me, or like at all, they weren't good, I think that's a really good sign. And it's sad and it can be confusing, like navigating friendships and stuff, but I think that's overall a really good thing. Obviously I don't have a lot of context, but from what that says, I feel like you're doing it right. Like you're on the right path. If you're looking back, I don't know, I feel like you're in a really good spot. I think that means good things. Is it bad to not have a Hoko date? I'm going to say a date for like any dance. Absolutely not. This goes for any single grade level. You feel like it's like the end of the world if you don't get asked to the dance, or you don't, just go with a friend group. Like go with friends, and like it's not a big deal at all. I had so many friends that did that. Throughout most of my dances in high school, I was dating my boyfriend, so I just kind of had like an automatic date. But it's seriously not a big deal. Like people aren't going to be like, oh my God, she doesn't have a fucking date. Like what a loser. It's not like the movies. If you don't get asked to the dance, it's not that big of a deal. And it's seriously, honestly more fun, I feel like, to go with like your best girlfriends and like maybe a group of your guy friends too, and like not just go with like one single guy, like your date. I feel like it's more fun to go as a group versus like going with just one person as your date. I just said the same thing like literally twice in a row and didn't even realize it. But even when I was like going, like had a date to the dance, like was going with my boyfriend, we still went in like a huge group of our friends, and it was just like such a fun time with everyone. So it's really not that big of a deal. Okay, a lot of people are asking how to balance everything and how to do everything without, going crazy, like balancing work and school and social life and friends and family and all of it. I've talked about balancing. I think I talked about balancing in my last high school advice episode that I did like a couple weeks ago. I think I talked about my tips for balancing. So if you want like more in depth, I would go listen to that episode if you haven't already. But you just need to stay organized and stay strapped with your planner. Like plan out everything in your life, stick to that planner, stick to being organized, and you will find yourself with so much more time. Like if you're using your planner in the proper way to be good at time management, you will be able to find time for everything. Whereas if you're just living your life, not planning out a single thing, not organize a single thing, doing assignments as they come, procrastinating assignments, you're gonna get yourself into a whole bunch of pickles and a whole bunch of dilemmas where your friends want to hang out, but you have 3 assignments that you could have done earlier in the week that you didn't do, and now you have to do them this weekend, and all your friends want to hang out and go do something cool, and you can't go because you have all these assignments. So time manage, stay on top of your shit when it comes to school and work, and you will have free time fall into your lap if you stick. Damn it, I hate when I'm like on a roll and then I just fuck up and it doesn't make sense anymore. Lay out your main priorities, get those priorities done first, find time for those priorities first, and then time for your other priorities, or like things that aren't as much of a priority, time will fall into your lap because you did all of those other things first. I don't know, just like be organized and really like plan your entire life. Get a planner and not just write homework assignments, but write in your work schedule, write in your sporting schedule, write in your club schedule, write in your friends' birthday plans and, family events and just things. Like write in everything so you can look at everything at once and figure out when you have time to do certain things. Okay, somebody said how to keep your friends going when you're going to different colleges. So this is more of a college question, but I guess you do start thinking about this senior year and like when you figure out what colleges everybody's going to and stuff. My biggest thing is you need to be accepting of what it is that's happening here. and you need to accept the fact that you guys are going to grow apart, but that doesn't mean anything bad necessarily, because you guys are going to be able to create a whole different friendship than you had before that has like a whole different level of like connection. And I know this sounds crazy, but if you know that this person is genuinely a good friend and you guys both benefit from the friendship equally and you guys are truly always there for each other, and it's like actually a positive person that is meant to be in your life, you guys will be able to stay in touch as long as you try and as long as you put in the effort. It doesn't take talking every single day to remain good friends with somebody. There's people that I haven't talked to in months, but I know if they came over to my house right now, we would be in the same place that we pretty much were when we left off. And that's how I know that that's a good friend. Like, I don't need to talk to you every fucking day. I don't need to tend to your every single need. But like when we come together, we like our relationship is just the same, if not even better somehow. Like somehow I will go like not talking to somebody for 3 weeks and then I'll hang out with them and I'm like, damn, I don't know how to put this. Make an effort to stay in contact, and then when you guys are both back at home, like make an effort to hang out and stuff. But you need to accept the fact that like you're gonna make new friends, they're gonna make new friends, and it's not that they're replacing you or anything like that, but like it's bound to happen, and that's perfectly fine and it's perfectly normal and it's honestly good. So, okay, how to stop being so overwhelmed by everything. So much college talk. Yeah. Senior year is definitely overwhelming. I mean, it's scary because you really have to start thinking about your future, and that is overwhelming in itself. And there's no like guidebook or guidelines or, somebody telling you what to do exactly with your future. And that's the scariest part. It's like, this is up to me. I mean, a lot of people have like college and shit forced on them by like their parents and even like teachers and counselors, like not forced, but like, guide people into that direction without even realizing it or asking them what they actually want with their life. So I get it. It can be so overwhelming. I luckily I was still overwhelmed by it because it's like your life is going to be changing completely pretty soon here, whether you're going to college or whether you're not. And it is like a scary thing because, it's something that you should not take lightly at all. Necessarily, I guess. But at the same time, it's not that deep. Hear me out. Obviously, if you're paying thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to go to college and get a degree, it is a little bit deep. And that's why I encourage you to just, take a step back, figure out what the fuck you want to do. Do not just go to college. I don't ever want to seem like I'm like anti-college, because I'm very pro-college. If your career and the thing that you're passionate about and the thing that you genuinely want to do with your life and like work towards requires college or further education and certificates and programs, fucking do it. College is a great tool. I think that the college system in general is a little fucked up because of how unaccessible it is to people that aren't as privileged. But I guess there is resources and stuff for people, but I don't know. Yeah, I'm pro college if you need college to pursue your passion, if that is something that's going to help you with your passion even. But on the other hand, there's so many things that don't require a bachelor's degree or a master's degree or a fucking doctorate degree. So you need to figure out, baby, okay. I just tried to take a deep breath, and my sick ass, how many times, I try not to mention the fact that I'm still a little sick this episode because I'm getting better, and I think not talking about it is like getting me better, because I think that I was just manifesting being sick because I was always complaining about it. But I just tried to take a deep breath, and my snot was like my sinus is all clogged. Fucking gross. Anyways, take a deep breath with me. I'm not going to do it for the sake of the listeners' ears here, but what do you care about? What are your passions? What do you love doing? What are your values? What are your priorities in this world? What are your goals in the future? What are things that you care about? And figure the fuck out what you want to do, and only let yourself figure it out. Don't let other people influence you. Figure out what you want to do. And once you figure out like what you genuinely want to do, which I know you might not, like people don't figure that shit out until they're like 30 years old sometimes. But if you're able to get kind of an idea of what path you want to go down, once you do that, it'll be a lot easier to start thinking about college and start, thinking about the future, because it won't be so like blindly thinking about college. You're not just gonna be thinking about college like, oh my God, what if I hate the college that I'm going to? I don't even know it, I don't even know what I want to major in. Like I'm scared, like I'm gonna just, major in something basic or like general right now and like then probably have to change it. Like it's very stressful when you just go into it blindly without a clue. But if you kind of have some idea where you want to go in the future, you can cater the places that you're applying to by like what programs they have and like what they're known for and like what they're good at and shit like that. So I think the biggest thing about not being overwhelmed is just taking a step back and like thinking through it yourself, not letting teachers and staff and counselors and friends force the questions on you, force like the topics. Like literally just sit back and like think about it for yourself with only yourself influencing your thoughts. Okay, I don't know if that was good advice. I don't know if that made sense even, but to me it made a lot of sense and I'm fucking stupid. So I don't know. I'm gonna do one more question because I feel like I've been talking for not a while, but I just feel like this episode is long and I'm hungry and I need to get going. So let's find a good one. A lot of these are the same, but okay, actually, I'm going to do two more, and I'm going to do this one really quick. I already kind of talked about this, so that's why I want to talk about it again. It says, when does it hit you that you're a senior because right now, or because I'm a senior, but I don't feel any different? It's not going to hit you until like graduation week. It's crazy, but it's not going to hit you, and then it's going to all hit you at once, and you're going to be like, what the fuck just happened? That's how it works. So get prepared for that. Okay, honestly, a lot of these questions are the same as things I've already answered. I'm struggling. Okay, I'm just going to do how did you set up your schedule senior year, even though I talked about it a little bit. Do you have any tips to make it easier? So my biggest tip is to try your hardest to, I don't know if you're able to like pick hours and stuff for your classes. We weren't necessarily able to, but I was able to early on, like right when you get your schedule, I'm able to, contact my counselor and like make changes and stuff. But I would say set your schedule up as close to this outline as possible, and that is making your day as short as possible, your day at school. So I would try, like if you're taking 5 classes, I mean obviously if you're taking 7 classes you're gonna have classes all day because there's like 7 or 8 periods anyways, but if you're only taking like 5 classes, which a lot of seniors do, try to have them like all be in the morning, like back to back to back, and then have you have like a release or a privilege or a study hall or whatever, and then like go home. You know what I mean? Or try to have it, this is ideal for me. Obviously, different people are different. I hated waking up early. So like I said, I had my first hour off and then I had a big chunk of classes. Whereas like you could have your off periods. I don't know if you're actually able to choose this shit at all. But I feel like that's the biggest thing that makes it easier is like squishing all of your classes into like one half of the day as much as possible versus having your shit all spread out, like having a class, then having a release, then coming back to school, and then having lunch, and then having 2 more classes. Like you're so spread out. You're there for 8 hours versus like getting it all done in like 5 hours. But obviously I don't think that you can really control that. So I don't know why I gave that advice. But I did also control that a little bit because I was like, please give me my release first hour. Like I will do anything. And she did. So I don't know. It just is up to your school, I guess. But I don't know. Some people might actually prefer having their schedule more spread out. I don't. I like to get that shit all over with all at once. And then I have like a half day kind of. Even though it's not actually a half day. It's only like 2 hours off. But it was nice. It was great. All right, you guys, that's going to be up. Oh my gosh, I'm going to wrap this episode up. This is going to be it for the episode. That's like 4 sentences all in one. I don't know. I love you guys. Thank you so much for listening. If you guys are a senior this year, I wish you the best of luck. Please stay positive. I know it can suck, and I know you're just so ready to be done and graduated, but be positive with it because you're going to regret being so negative about it. If you are negative, you're going to regret being so negative like I do. So try to be positive, try to enjoy it, try to do as much as possible, try to make memories, try to do like the corny fucking senior activities and shit that you think is going to be stupid. It's probably still going to be stupid, but you're going to look back and wish that you did those things if you don't. So do all the fun little cringy shit. Just have a good time. Try your hardest, have a good time, and just live your fucking life. Don't put up with petty bullshit. You're too old for that now. Surround yourself with friends that make you feel good. Don't try to just fit in to fit in. Try to find people that you fit into without even trying. I don't know. That's some of my advice. Thank you guys so much for listening. And I will see you in the next episode. And I hope that this episode doesn't cause any problems in anybody's personal lives. Guys, I wish I could like sit here and like tell you about it. That's the fucked up part. Because I know that everybody listening, like a majority of you guys don't live anywhere near me. You guys don't know the people that I know. You guys are just, tuning in because you enjoy hearing my stories and you enjoy hearing my advice and just enjoy hearing me talk for some fucking reason. Most of you guys don't have contact with any of the people that I meet in my life, but some of you, I've been informed that some of you do. And unfortunately, honestly, fuck you guys. You guys are fake. Guys are fake. No, I would totally do the same thing if I were you. But yeah, there was people that, oh my God, see, I'm about to start telling you the story, but I just feel like I shouldn't. But I also feel like I didn't do anything wrong. And like, I get why people are upset, but also I didn't do anything wrong. So yeah. I'm not going to get into it. I was really thinking about getting into it for a second, but I'm not going to. I'm sorry. Someday I will when it's not so fresh, but this is still very fresh. And I actually kind of like made some ripples, some big ripples. I made like a fucking tsunami wave actually through UW-Madison. So I'm going to go before I do that again.